Hi guys.
Hi.
Welcome to Lawn Chair Farming. So we're out here today with Anna, I don't know your last name, but I won't remember it, and Kevin of Highland Spring Farm. That's just, it's fine. It's
Fine.
No, Anna's been with you for like 3 years. It's been so fun. I'm so jealous that you can keep employees for that long. I don't know what you do. You must be a good employee.
I only hire one of them. That's
yeah,
the key.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, so we're out here. Kevin owns Highland Springs Farm. It's a family farm in kind of the Fitchburg, Oregon, Wisconsin area, so just south of Madison. And he predominantly runs Highland cattle, which is a heritage breed, those funny brown fuzzy things running around with the big horns. Very photogenic. They're cute. They look like teddy bears.
They taste delicious.
And they taste delicious. I can personally attest to that. So Kevin's got a lot going on. They have a couple different farms. He's got a home farm that he grazes that's all in grass. He's got his family farm, which is a combination of grazing, cover crops, sweet corn. Now you're taking over that whole farm this year, which is
Correct.
super exciting.
Yep.
And then what we're going to focus on today, just for a minute, and we'll make it out to his home farm one of these days. But we're at Hook Lake, and I think this is a state wildlife area, correct?
Yes. Or a state natural area.
Or a state natural area, something like that. So anyway, it's managed by DNR.
Correct.
And Julie
Windholm
is I was going to screw up her last name too. See, last names. Is the manager out here, so it's been great to work with them. They've been pretty good to work with over the past. However, what season are we in?
We are in season 5.
Wow, that's actually kind of cool.
It is, yeah. It's been really good.
So for 5 years, Kevin's been bringing cattle out here. There's lots of different things going on, but they're trying to use cattle to manage land versus always using. There goes some DNR right now, I think. We can hear some chainsaws buzzing in the background, trying to maybe utilize cattle, especially Highland cattle, for their brush munching ability, to manage some of these areas for wildlife habitat. So, do you want to just tell us how you got started here specifically?
Yeah, we got started here. I attended Grassworks conference and went to a session on grazing public lands.
Okay.
Because at our place on Lawler Road, there are a lot of DNR and Nature Conservancy owned lands surrounding us, with the original goal of trying to figure out how to graze those and take advantage of some of the prairies. And throughout the discussion, found out that this property, which is 5 miles from our house, was available, and was starting a project between DNR, UW, agroecology, master's students, and trying to find a private grazer to use it.
So you kind of found them at the Grassworks conference, and that started.
Exactly.
We were wondering. Chelsea and I were wondering, how did that happen?
Yeah. So that's how we got started, and then came out here and toured it a couple times, and there was a grazing plan for it that we used and modified, and then DNR put up all the exterior fence, and we're responsible for all the water and interior fence within the 25 acres or so.
Yeah, in the first 3 years, I think you hauled water out here?
Yes, the first 3 years, DNR had trouble getting the well built. So we hauled water on a 1,500-gallon tanker, which was terrible.
But now there's a pipeline.
And it's fantastic. And it increased our carrying capacity from 8 to 10 animals to 20, 25 animals.
Sure, cool. Okay, so UW was involved. Is UW still involved? Or?
No, that project ended.
Okay.
2 years ago, there were 2 different students who both did their master's projects on it, and now that project's all done. But what UW was doing had 25 to 30 plots, looking at a variety of things, grazing, herbicide use, mowing, to see how that changed the brush control, as well as the species diversity in the pasture.
Right. Cool. And how, I think, when we're talking about private farmers pairing up with public entities, I know there can be, you know, there's some paperwork, there's some struggle. Have you guys noticed, Anna, have you like worked with them directly, or who's the one who's always in, because I'm sure there's a lot of communication that has to happen.
Kevin does most of the communication. I get to do all the fun stuff here.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
You mostly move the cattle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yep. And the DNR, at least on this project, has been fantastic to work with.
Okay.
It's been really easy. They've helped us when we needed help. We've helped them when they didn't know how to install the pipeline. And so in
Right.
order to do it, we just said we'd do it for them.
Sure.
And they just paid for time and materials.
Okay.
But overall, it's been pretty straightforward
Okay.
and pretty easy. They've more or less done what we've asked them to do
Okay.
on this project.
Yeah.
And so as we look to expand here over the next couple of years, you know,
So
we'll,
is that a possibility that maybe we'll fence in more?
yeah, there is some more acreage available.
Okay.
And that I think they want to try to do hopefully a little bit better. This particular area was very heavily wooded.
It was.
And brush.
Until the
It was pretty
pecan
terrible.
came
And then
out
the pecan came through last spring.
Yeah, that was
and-
incredible.
And it made a huge difference in being able to use it.
Okay.
But yeah, DNR's been great to work with.
Okay. So you definitely, I mean, you wouldn't, I mean, you've been doing it for 5 years, so obviously they're not too much of a headache, right?
Right. No, not at all.
Okay, so Anna, you're kind of managing the cows out here. What is the, like, how intense is the management? What do you guys, like, what's that look like?
so ever since the water lines were put in, we've been able to do a lot better job rotating them more frequently
Yeah.
and have heavier pressure on the invasive stuff. So last year we increased the carrying capacity. There are like 25 animals here. We were moving them about 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
And we did 2.5 or 3 rotations throughout
Okay.
the summer.
And have you noticed, I mean, we're sitting, I purposefully put your chair like on top of a multiflora rose. Have you guys, what do you think? Do you think it's a viable option?
It's amazing the difference between when we started and when we came through.
Okay.
In some of the areas where they didn't do the pecan and just had the trees, you know, there's still some good trees in here, some nice oak trees.
Yeah.
All the understory seems to be cleared out. The cattle have spent a lot of time in there.
Right. I mean, your home or the Stoneman.
And right, it's worked well at the family farm.
Right.
I think this particular property is a little difficult to manage because half of it is in cool season grasses
Okay.
that had a lot of brush pressure,
Yep.
and half of it is in warm season grasses.
Okay.
So figuring out when to do our rotations and
Yeah.
where to start. We've started. This year is the earliest that we've started
Okay.
grazing here. Typically, we haven't brought animals until
I was gonna
mid
say,
to
this year is
late
early
June.
for everything,
Right.
so-
And so we're starting on the cool season side rather than the
Okay.
warm season side like we have in the past.
How many acres is it? I can't remember.
25,
25. Okay.
plus or minus.
Plus or minus. And you guys are thinking another 25 animals here this year, or ish?
At least, yeah.
Okay.
So we're bringing it, every year we've done it, we brought a different group and class of animals.
Okay.
So we brought some dry cows, some cow-calf pairs, some steers, and this year we're going to bring about 15 yearlings and then 10 to 15 dry cows, fall-bred cows.
Fall bred cows. Okay. And you'll bring them home before calving, obviously.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. And
We missed last year.
Okay, before we can, well, this is probably good, but we have to hear the cowboy story.
Oh, so yes. So
It's too good.
4 years ago, we brought 10 open cows to breed here that were new to us. And the same year, my 2-year-old broke his leg. So I wasn't sure if I was going
Right.
to be able to graze here. And DNR said, you know, we want to continue the project, so we'll take care of the movement and whatever. And I think they just weren't quite used to.
Was this pre-Anna?
This is pre-Anna.
Yeah, see,
Yes.
that's where
This is
everything
where
got better.
this is where the story starts going
Yes,
downhill, right?
right.
No, Anna, everything's going terrible.
Exactly.
And so yeah, we couldn't get them out at the end of the year. And so this is a very heavy use area for the public. They stock pheasants here. There's a ton of dog walkers, whatnot. The cattle were very good at staying within the perimeter, but they weren't good at staying inside their paddocks. And so when it came time to get them out, at one time we had 6 to 10 DNR staff with multiple gates and fences popping out from behind bushes to continue to push them to the right spot. And at the end, we were able to get about half of them out, but there were 3 left. And so there was no way to get them out.
Yeah.
And so I had an ad on Craigslist looking for a cowboy to rope them, and a shocking amount of response. And so we hired someone who got out of his truck in full chaps, cowboy hat, as big as the moon, and the biggest horse I've ever seen. And he came and he roped all 3 of them, and we put them in the trailer, and they went straight to the butcher.
Oh my God! Thank you. I needed to. We needed that story in our lives.
Yes,
Like,
it was.
You too can hire a cowboy in Madison, Wisconsin.
Anywhere you want, you can hire a cowboy.
Right.
Craigslist is your best friend.
Oh my God, so good. All right.
Yeah.
So besides that, I feel like things go well. You keep doing it. You plan
Yes.
to keep doing it. I know I'm talking to. There's some fish and wildlife land around
Yep.
that should probably get some animals on it. So I think the more we can document the success here, hopefully we can open up some of these other
Right.
areas. So,
Yeah. I mean, the key is having water on demand.
Yes.
It just makes everything so much easier rather than having to come over here 3 times a day to fill a stock
Oh my
tank,
God, right.
or haul water. It's just a lot of work. And when you're filling 1,500 gallons tank out of a garden hose,
Right.
it takes
Right.
5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And then you come back 5 hours later and you realize the hose fell out of the tank. And you got to start over again. We had many of those stories,
Right.
but now it's
So you
much easier.
persevered. We got the
Yeah.
tank. Floated,
Water lines,
waters-
fences,
Yep.
solar panel for your electric interior fence. It's
Yeah.
great.
So that's what you use a solar.
There's a solar panel on the interior. So
Yep.
DNR built a barbed wire fence.
Yep.
It's not what I would have built, but
Right.
they did.
Right.
And
I think that's a learning curve for DNR.
yep,
I do think having Miss Mary C. Anderson is going to help that out, so
Yep.
future fences are not barbed wire. No one wants barbed around their dogs anyway.
right.
So I think even if they insist on having a couple strands barbed, they could at least get some
Yep.
high tensile. But anyway, that's good. Thanks for
You
talking.
bet.
Maybe we'll come out and launch a chat at a different farm one of these days.
We'll be ready.
Okay, thanks.